WrestleMania 40 is officially in the books, and I believe that this is going to be known as the Great Reset. We'll cover why this is a dawn of a new era, and the Podski starts now.
The Podski with John Baker. For over 1 year, the revolutionary force in audio entertainment.
Ooh, yeah!
Brother,
Let me talk to you! Freak out, freak out!
I just had an out-of-body experience!
The insane in the membrane!
Brother,
Yeah! And I'm here for only one reason, and that's to take it to the limit, yeah!
somebody stop the damn man!
I'm living on the edge.
Who is your daddy?
Hello and welcome to the Podski. I am your host, Johnny Bake Show. I hope everyone enjoyed their WrestleMania weekend. It was an amazing experience to be there live. The boyhood dream came true, as we like to say here on the Podski. But if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. It helps the channel grow. We've got a lot of new subscribers based off of a lot of the stuff we've been doing here on the Podski. So we thank you to the new subscribers and listeners. And if there's anything else you want to check out, you can check out in the description below. We have WrestleMania 15 and 20 reviews, and we also have a bonus show that goes with the WrestleMania 20 show, so be sure to check those out. But WrestleMania 40. I said last week on the preview show that this was going to be a special one, but it ended up being special in a different way than what I expected. The Triple H era is here, and it's what I'm going to call the hard reset. This show was centered around a story so captivating that the fans made creative change their own plans, and they delivered. Not only delivered, they over-delivered. So before we move on into the card and a lot of other things, because I feel like, especially after Raw, there's something really interesting that happened that I really want to talk about. But I really want to talk about the main event because there's a lot of good things that I think a lot of people missed that kind of ties this whole thing all together. So we'll get to that, so stay with me here. But this Triple H era, I want to talk about it because what they did over both nights. So Cole told us night one, as soon as Hunter came down the ramp, that this is the Triple H era. And then we get a surprise on Sunday with Steph showing up and her putting over that it's the Triple H era. And personally, as that happened on night two, I felt like that was like a direct shot right at Vince. Like, you're out, buddy, we're in. It felt like, you know, he being Vince, he set this company back years with all of his pride and his BS and everything else. He's held them back for too long. And we're going to do right by these people. We're going to clean up the mistakes that you have made. And I noticed a really big change from night one to night two. So being in the building, if you're following along here on YouTube, I'm going to put it up. You can see night one, the set was really centered around the green and the yellow. And as you transition to night two, especially after Stephanie left and said that it's the Triple H era, the set suddenly turns all green. And not like the green that, not like the Kelly green or the Philadelphia Eagles green. It's like Triple H green. And if you're a Triple H mark like I am, like Triple H has been my favorite wrestler my whole life, you know what I'm talking about, that Triple H green. So I don't know if anybody else picked up on that. Maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like it speaks for itself here on the screen right now. So there's a lot of stuff that I got to get into here, but this message felt like it was a direct message right to Vince to say that the future is now, and Triple H is here, and he's here to stay, and he's going to do right by these people, and everything that you've done does not matter anymore. So, and even the other thing too that I noticed was that like night one, like the Wells Fargo Center, so like, they're at the Philly Sports Complex where Lincoln Financial Field is right beside, like literally right beside the same parking lot as Wells Fargo where they did NXT and Raw and SmackDown. They didn't have it lit up really green on Saturday night. They had some green bannerage, but the entire banner around the whole arena was the bright green. So maybe I'm onto something here. Maybe I'm fishing, but I feel like there's no coincidences anymore, especially with WWE. But we can start with night one. So I'm not going to cover every single match on both nights, but I felt like night one was the means to the end. It was all to get you to night two. I know there's a lot of people, especially around us in the building, like we were getting irritated. Like we were getting to the point where it's like, can we please do something? We need to get to the end here. Because without the commentary and the fact that we had been sitting there with 20-mile-an-hour winds for 4 hours, like we were cold and we were tired. Now, I will say that the cold absolutely played a factor in the crowd night one. Now, we were in it for the main event. Like you felt the crowd getting alive, especially whenever Rock's entrance hit. Like that was an insane entrance. But it felt like the crowd really got in at that Sami and Gunther match. I felt like that was match of the night. That was an incredible WrestleMania classic. That is a classic. Whereas Jimmy and Jay, I felt like wasn't. And that's where I'm kind of perplexed by that match. It was very underwhelming in the building. When I watched it back on TV, I didn't think it was as bad as what I remember sitting there, but I did like it more. I don't want to say it was good, but I just felt like they could have done more. I'm still wanting more from them. I hate that we didn't get a classic brother versus brother match, but we got an 11-minute match that left me disappointed in the moment. When Jay lifted Jimmy up and like Jimmy tricked him and gave him the low blow, I felt like Jimmy should have continued the beatdown and eventually get the win. It would have made night two what happened. We're gonna get to the main event. We're gonna get to night two, but I felt like that would have been way more impactful the way that it played out in the match. But instead, we made Jimmy look not as important or meaningful to the bloodline, and it feels like this is the beginning of their matches. I don't think you have Jay win unless it is going to be the beginning. But this just match, it felt like it's the beginning, especially with what happened later on night two. Watching it back, it did change my perspective. Now, the entrances were incredible. And by the entrances, I mean for the main event. This match was for sure the appetizer for the main course. And the main course was Sunday night. So The Rock being the surprise, like he took big spots. He didn't look out of place. I felt that and the thing about Rock too is it's really crazy because he's one of very selective few, and by the selective few, the only one that like comes to mind off the top of my head is Shawn. But guys that can walk away and they can step right back in, and it's like nothing ever changed. And I just felt like this was night one was all to stack the odds against Cody. In order for him to overcome the tribal chief, he had to walk into the hostile environment of Bloodline rules. And it even played into the Seth and Drew match on Sunday. And that's where they opened with Drew and Seth for the World Heavyweight title. They started hot with that Claymore right out of the box and you know, the big near fall. They ended up having like the crowd legitimately was into that match from start to finish. The crowd was way different on Sunday. Sunday we had beautiful weather. It was so beautiful. I wish we would have had the weather that if they would have backed the days up. Like if we would have had the weather that we had on Sunday for night one, it would have been great. If we would have had the weather that we had on Monday, it would have been even better for Sunday. For sure, both curtain jerker matches on night one and night two, both of them were incredible. I thought that they were fantastic. The eruption for Damian Priest, though, when he cashed in, that was an incredible moment that literally set the stage for the night. We crowned new tag champions. We crowned a new and very, very deserving women's champion with Bayley as she finally got her WrestleMania moment. But the main event, living it, like it feels like a dream. Watching it back was like even better. I feel like that was the greatest main event in WrestleMania history. And I could be biased because I was there. It could be recency bias, but I can't think of another WrestleMania match that had everything. It had the story. It had the multi-layered story, which is a really big point I want to make here because I'm going to take you through it because I feel like a lot of people are missing some stuff. It had surprises. It had drama. It had suspense. And what most importantly, it had true stakes. There were legitimate stakes to the match. And it felt like the most complete main event that they have done in a long, long time, especially with the Bloodline. But it all starts with Cody's entrance, with Brandy, the flags burning. I felt like the flags burning signified that everything around Cody was burned. It's all crumbled. It's all come down to this, and he's still charging forward. I think Michael Cole said it best in the intros. It's the 9th inning, and Cody is in a must-win. Roman's entrance was epic with the orchestra playing as if it was his final act as champion. Like, it was really great. In the in-promo package before the match, Cody said he had Roman last year, and it played out, the match pretty much played out the same way that it did last year. Cody had an answer for everything that Roman gave him. Even to the point where after he hit the second crossroads, he checked over his shoulder, but Solo came from the other side. The little details in this are so good. And that's where the story heated up. That's where the match heated up. You hear the trumpets of John Cena's music coming down. He saves Cody, gets Solo out. You get The Rock immediately after that. Cena and Rock have the epic stare down. Rock gives the rock bottom to Cena. And then the lights go out. The gong hits. Undertaker appears. Gives the Rock a choke slam. And everyone's like, whoa. Like, I know that a lot of people are like, how does Undertaker play into this? Where does Undertaker fit in Cody's story? He doesn't. But where he does fit in is that he finally gets his revenge on Paul Heyman. Undertaker, both of his WrestleMania losses were to Paul Heyman guys. It was Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30. It was Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 33. Taker was not a random plant for a pop. It furthered the drama of the story of the Bloodline. All of your actions have consequences. Cena got his revenge on Solo from when Solo beat him with the 10 Samoan spikes and sent him out of WWE. Jay held off Jimmy, which, looking back at their match, again, adds significance, but I feel like it would have been different if the finish would have been different on night one. The biggest piece of the match, and this is the most important part, it was so well executed by Seth Rollins. Because Seth Rollins said from the beginning, I will be your shield. Seth knew that Roman, no matter what, he could never forgive him for turning on the Shield, because Roman's biggest crux is that he's all about family and loyalty. Seth betrayed all of that when he hit Roman with the chair to break up the Shield. And it's been his biggest scar. And it's his Achilles heel. The fact that the Shield broke up, and the same thing happened with Sami last year at Royal Rumble. Seth told Cody that he would be his shield against the Bloodline, and that's exactly what he was. Roman hit Seth with the chair, and it was the instant where Roman took his eye off the target, exposed his biggest weakness, and there was nobody left there to help him. And at that moment, that's where Cody, shark in the water, saw the blood, went after it. 3 crossroads. The first time he cleanly hits 3 crossroads. 1, 2, 3. You're a new champion. But that's not where the story ends. The story doesn't end with the 1, 2, 3. The story continues as Roman hobbles up the ramp in defeat. All of his victims that he had beat, all of these bloodline victims, start making their way down the ramp, not acknowledging him, literally walking right past him as if he does not exist. And that is Roman's biggest crux. He needs to be acknowledged for who he is. And these people are not acknowledging him. We're going to get a different Roman Reigns in the future. I think already we've seen that with the tweet, with the video. This Roman that's going to come back is going to be a lot different. But this was so clever and it was so brilliant. As they lift Cody on their shoulders in the air, that's where the new era officially began. We crowned new champions. We have new tag champions, 2 new tag champions. We have new women's champion. We have a new world heavyweight champion. We have a new undisputed champion. That's a huge reset. Big titles, all meaningful. So now that the story is over, what's next for the bloodline? Where do they go from here? Personally, if I'm, fantasy booking here, I want, and I know that Justin Andretti, shout out Justin Andretti, he said about a bloodline civil war, and I think that makes a lot of sense. You got to have the inner conflict now because all the walls are crumbled. Water's flowing in the boat. We're going down. We gotta pick ourselves up. We gotta get out of here now. How do they respond? So I'm excited to see what happens, especially after Roman and The Rock's little happenings as of yesterday. But what's next for our new champion? Because Cody does legitimately have big shoes to fill. Now, he's going to reset the landscape as a champion because the title is going to be defended at every single show you can imagine. You're going to see that title every single week on TV. Whether you want to see it or not, you're going to see it. Clearly, after Raw, The Rock, they're going to do Rock versus Cody. And it's an organic story that was built off of the original story. There's been magic between these two guys, and you saw it from the kickoff. And last night, The Rock saying he has to go away, but when he comes back, he's coming for Cody. Now, I will say that the title holding thing was awkward. I'm not quite sure what they were doing with there. I don't know. A champion willingly handing his title to a challenger, somebody that you just they just drew your own blood and talked to your mom that way. I don't know how that plays into it. I don't know. Maybe it was for a video package so that they got the visual of The Rock holding that title. Maybe that's what it is. But this is where it gets very interesting. And there is a theory that is online that I think is true. And here's why I think it is true. It's the lighter theory. If you don't know the lighter theory, I'm going to take you through it now. And this is not only this is the mixture of the lighter theory with the overarching theme that The Rock handed Cody a lighter, but I'm going to tell you why that I think he handed him a lighter. So let's take a ride here. Cody tweeted last week that his bus caught on fire. And it kind of seemed like a nothing happening random accident. But I know that he had tweeted that, everybody's okay. Nobody was harmed. You should pop at this. Real wrestling fans know I grabbed my boots. It was really funny the way that he kind of laid it out there. Where it gets interesting is the verbiage that The Rock continued to use last night with, "Don't worry, Cody, no fireworks." And then they have the handshake where The Rock passes something to Cody and he says, "You don't have to look at this to know what it is if you smell what The Rock is cooking." This is where it gets interesting. I believe that the continued use of "don't worry, no fireworks" is a double entendre. Meaning that, hey brother, don't worry, I'm not gonna do anything here. I'm not gonna hurt you. All I want to do is just hold your belt. You can hold mine, and we'll be like, that's all I want. But I also believe that no fireworks means no fireworks without a lighter. I believe that The Rock had passed the lighter to Cody, and that bus fire was no coincidence. So we'll see. But it definitely looks like Rock and Cody is penciled in for SummerSlam. I know that Rock is leaving to do some TV, or not TV, but movies. And then he's going to come back. Maybe it's not SummerSlam. Maybe it's WrestleMania. I don't know. I believe Dave said WrestleMania. But we all know that Dave, we love Dave here on the show, but Dave has been wrong a time or two. But what do you all think? Let me know in the comments or on the socials at @the_Podski on Twitter and Instagram. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It helps the channel grow, and we're continuing to grow. We're going to give you more wrestling content as we go. So we will be back next week with the Saturday night's main event. I've never watched the show, but I'm very excited to talk about it with Teddy Mongoose. So if you want more fun banter, check out the bonus shows at WrestleMania 40. We recorded basically our live reactions once we got out of the building and into the car. Literally just hooked up the mics and said, what do we think? They were pretty funny too, because you can imagine how 6 guys in a van are after a 4-hour wrestling show. So be sure to check all of that out. Make sure to check out the WrestleMania 15 and the WrestleMania 20 show. And with that, we will see you next time on the Podski.